Tim, this recording is for probably not for publication on the website or for the public. I'm recording it so that a couple of people who are not present tonight in Los Olivos might have access to it. But if our practitioner here is willing to later on decide that this reflection on practice can be put on the web, then I'll let you know, okay? So that's why we're recording. Thank you, Tim. He's not here, but I'm talking to him. It's an email about this. No. Okay. And I want to say, Tim, just in case it does end up on the web, that this is one of our practitioners who's been with us for almost since the beginning. Patty, what's your last name?
Could we have to stand on the chair?
Patty, what's your last name again?
Lamb.
Oh, yeah. Patricia Lamb is her name. And she's going to give a reflection on practice. Okay, here we go.
I'm gonna hold them. Thank you. It's just, what do you want? No, it's okay. Just instruments often go out of tune when they get moved to one place to one place to another. Are you recording?
We're recording.
Would you like to say anything before you begin? Okay. I'm playing.
I hear you. I could have guessed you did. You know what? Let's do the Dharma, the Gatha thing, Sutra. I know it's not a Dharma talk, but it is kind of about more light. More light.
I wouldn't mind a little bit more light.
Okay, but this.
You're so considerate. Tell her thank you.
Is that what you want? Or do you
That's
want
good.
forward?
That's very nice.
Unsurpassed.
And unsurpassed, penetrating and perfect Dharma is rarely met with, even in 100,000 million kalpas. Having it to see and listen to, remember and accept. I vow to taste the truth of the Tathagata's words.
I almost always start a session playing the ukulele with Amazing Grace, because very much like taking deep breaths at the beginning of sitting meditation, it clears away the distractions and helps me focus and calms my nerves. Just like when I take deep breaths, and that helps me settle down into my body and clear away distractions and start to focus. It's the main thing, is focusing. I want to make sure that you know about John Newton, who wrote the hymn, Amazing Grace. Do you know about him? Well, he wrote this hymn in 1772. He was a seafaring person, and he was involved in the Atlantic slave trade. And when he stopped being a seafaring person, he started studying Christian theology and became an abolitionist. So Amazing Grace is really his spiritual autobiography. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found, was blind, but now I see. And of course, there are many more verses. He did not, however, write the music. The music was written in 1835. I think the hymn was sung to several different tunes, but the familiar tune that we hear it mostly today, which I just played, was written in 1835 by an American composer named William Walker. So the reason I'm up here in front of you is because last week, we, after Pamela's talk, we had a wonderful conversation about death. And during that conversation, a song came to my mind. And I commented that, oh, I wish I had my ukulele with me because I would play that song for you right now. And Pamela said, well, would you bring it next week and play it for us? And I said, yes. And then this morning, it was suggested that I give the talk tonight. So I'm very happy to do that. Let's see. Make sure I don't forget to tell you anything I wanted to tell you. A reflection on practice. So here I am. Surprise! Furthermore, I told Pamela there was one other song that I would like to play for you as well. And then she said it would be okay if it fits with my theme. Oh, I have a theme. Okay. Okay, and I have a theme. I have one. So it just so happens that my Tuesday night sangha that I zoom in on has been reading this book by Thich Nhat Hanh. And Tuesday night we read this passage on the 4 nutriments. It says in Buddhism, we speak of 4 kinds of nutriments: edible foods, sense impressions, volition, and consciousness. So my theme is sense impressions. Let me read to you a little bit more about sense impressions. Everything we consume through our senses in terms of images, sounds, music, movies, websites, and so on. So specifically on the nutriment of sense impressions in music, with songs that have the themes of life and death, which is probably almost all songs, isn't it? Let's see, first, I have a confession to make, and I hope this doesn't shock you. I don't sit every day on my own at home. I sit with you on Thursday nights. I sit with my Plum Village Tradition, my Thich Nhat Hanh group on Tuesday nights. I occasionally have the opportunity to sit with my Texas Dharmata Foundation Tibetan friends, but I seem to be a crisis meditator. I meditate in doctor's offices waiting for procedures. I meditate in animal hospitals. I meditate in nerve-wracking traffic holdups. I meditate when I can't sleep. And it helps me a lot. It's very much a stress reliever. Maybe someday I'll develop a habit of meditating every day at home. But currently, that's true confessions. I don't do that. The Texas Sangha is where I started meditating in October of 2021. So it hasn't been all that terribly long. And also I have been playing the ukulele for not quite a year, having started just last August. So like meditation, playing the uke is also a practice. And I guess you could say I am a lifelong learner. still seeking meaning and enjoyment in my life. The song our conversation last Thursday brought to mind is called Let the Mystery Be. It is written by Iris Dement, who is a 62-year-old songwriter. She was born in Arkansas, the youngest of 14 children in a Pentecostal home. And that really shows up in her music. She's very well known in the folk music genre, and she has been nominated for 2 Grammys. Her songs are just beautiful and really, really come from the heart. So I will play the song for you, and then I'll tell you why I like this particular song so much and what it means to me, and I hope you will share your impressions of the song tonight too. Everybody is a wondering what and where we all came from. Everybody is a worrying about where we go when the whole thing's done. But no one knows for certain. So it's all the same to me. I think I'll just let the mystery be. Once you're gone forever. Some say you're gonna come back. Some say you'll rest in the arms of the Savior in the same ways you like. In a garden, bunch of carrots and little sweet peas. I think I just let the mystery be. Everybody is wondering where we all came from. Everybody is worried about where I go when everything's done. But no one knows for certain. So it's all the same to me. I think I'll just let the mystery be. Some say they'll rest in the some say they're going to a place called free. That ain't saying that in the past. But I heard I don't like the sound of them. For I believe in love and I live my life accordingly. I choose to let the mystery be. Everybody is a wondering where we all came from. Everybody is worried about where we go when the whole thing's done. No, for certain. So it's saying to me, I think God will just let the mystery be. Just let the mystery be. Play a song perfectly at home. Times. That was perfect. So there's basically 2 reasons that this song resonates with me. First, I spent a decade or so as a member of the Unitarian Universalist congregation, the Live Oak Unitarian Universalist congregation. And Unitarian Universalists have as one of their principles a free and honest search for truth and meaning in our lives. And as a member of that congregation, I was exposed to many, many different viewpoints. the expressions of which were all respected and accepted. And any typical UU congregation will have a diverse membership, including people who consider themselves Christians or Jews or Buddhists or pantheists or atheists or paganists or, and many more. So I appreciate the way that Iris mentions differing beliefs when it comes to the subject of death. And she makes it clear that she isn't debating the validity of these views. I ain't saying that ain't a fact, even if the belief is something she doesn't like the sound of. So I admire that about the song. The main theme of her song that speaks to me personally is the notion that she is content not knowing. She is at peace with, as she puts it, letting the mystery be. And I have been thinking a lot lately about the limitations of our human brains. Our brains are pretty good, and most people have the good fortune of enjoying all five senses. But I really wonder what extrasensory perceptions we might experience if our brains were more capable than they are. I think part of the reason the topic of sense impressions is occupying so much of my thoughts these days is because I may be slowly losing my eyesight in my left eye. And I think I've mentioned that to everybody in this room. It's really on my mind a lot. So you all know about that. But something that you don't know about me yet, or you may not have figured out about me yet, is that I'm also I have a hearing deficit. I had a sudden onset hearing loss about 25 years ago. This eardrum doesn't vibrate at all. So I can hear perfectly with this ear, thank goodness. This ear, nothing. So I have compensated for that. I've made many adjustments for that, and so has my family. Where am I? Let's see. So getting back to letting the mystery be, I have to agree with Iris that no one knows for certain. Although there are some people who, insist that they do know exactly what's going to happen, and maybe they've had a near-death experience or something that has influenced them, and I ain't saying that ain't a fact. But I know that I'm not capable of knowing, and maybe I'm not supposed to know. That's sort of the conclusion that I've drawn. And in any case, I want to be at peace with not knowing. My older sister very wisely said to me one day when we were talking about death and fears about it, she said, well, were you okay before you were born? So I thought that was very wise. I always think of that. So I want to close with this song by John Lennon. That's, I guess I already moved it. Yay. You can recognize it. Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no country. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for. And no religion to Imagine all the people living in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you will join us. And the world be as one. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. A brotherhood of man, a sisterhood of woman. Imagine all the people sharing. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you will join us. The world. Invite your reflections. Yeah.
How long, how many hours do you practice trying to be your school?
Probably, let's say maybe between 5 and 10 hours. I just love it so much. I'm enjoying it so much. You know, we went to the Omega Institute last summer for my husband to take a songwriting workshop. And they were so welcoming and I felt so comfortable. Every night there would be song circles. And even though I wasn't a part of the workshop, I could attend the song circles. But I felt so comfortable that I actually sang solo some of my husband's songs. You know, I got this idea, well, if I sing one of your songs, then you get 2 songs because I'll do one of yours and then you do yours. Other people were doing that too. It wasn't my original idea. And then we got home and I saw his uke on the wall and I thought, yeah, you can do anything on YouTube. And then I got a teacher. I got a teacher and he has really brought me far. And then I bought this ukulele for myself. It's a bari tenor. So, you know, there are soprano, concert, tenor, and baritone ukuleles. And this one has a baritone body, but it has a tenor neck because the baritone uke has completely different tuning. And you shape the chord shapes are all different. And I had already learned the tenor neck. So when I saw that there was this hybrid, and it has a low G, so the size of the body gives me just a little bit more resonance, and I knew I wanted a low G, and it has a little hibiscus right here. So I really love it, and I'm so happy that I can finally join the rest of my family, you know, who are musicians.
Family meaning family.
My
members?
husband and my son both play. I have a niece who's very accomplished, and but Randy's a folk singer. He's at a gig tonight in San Luis Obispo, and our son. That's what kept him in school. That's what kept him in high school was the music program at Dos Pueblos. that was his niche. He was in marching band, orchestra, jazz band, drum corps, everything. And it just really appealed to him. And he still is in a band that has taken him all over the world. They've traveled all over the world, and they're all, they're in their, late 30s, early 40s now. Many of them are married and have regular full-time jobs, so they don't get out to play as often as they used to, but they still do qualify. So now Randy and I are starting to play songs together.
Oh,
So that really, it's just added this whole level of joy. And it's really neat. And I practice it a lot because I really like it and because I wanted to support my teacher.
And now is your teachers online? Or
Yes,
you
it's
have-
online.
You don't have in-person teacher?
No, but it's someone that I know. We're friends. We've been friends for a long time. His name is Michael Fry. And he's very accomplished. And he just basically, I tell him what I want to play, what I want to learn how to play. And he'll tab it out for me or, send me a link to the songs and music, and then we'll work on it. But what do you think of Iris DeMay? You need to look her up and listen to some more of her music.
I listened to this song today.
Did you?
Because I knew you were going to sing it, and I really appreciated her, but I really appreciate your expression. Really,
Thank you.
it's much more accessible to me the way you expressed it, and I love the song, of course, the playfulness and the seriousness combined. And I'm really grateful to you for sharing your practice. And all of this is practice. Your life is your practice. It's not separate. So you're practicing.
Well, it was my pleasure. I have a really good friend who's also a singer-songwriter. He's at our house right now. He came to visit to make sure he's up to speed on my little dog's medications and everything, because we're going back to Omega first 2 weeks of August, and he's going to be there taking care of our sick dog. And he sings and plays so beautifully. He played another Iris DeMay song called The Touch of a Friend's Hand. Oh, it is so beautiful. It's just a perfect song. I really recommend you listening to more of her music. And of course, John Lennon, Beatles in general, they were just genius. And that's simple. That's a very simple song.
Yeah, it's very interesting to me. I don't know how these things work. I guess it's a mystery to me. But I wrote my Dharma talk for Sunday today, and it's got a Beatles song in it.
Oh, which one? Which one?
Should I tell you? Are you going to be there? If you're not going to be there, I'll tell you.
Probably not.
Okay, it's Hello, Hello.
Oh, yeah.
And no comments.
Sunday's my anniversary, so I'm quite sure.
Happy
Wedding anniversary.
Yeah, and I think that I wanted to ask you that you obviously have a practice and many practices of being aware of each moment. And I'm wondering whether or not you're finding, I'm assuming something that, I guess, are you connecting the dots all the time to your practice? Because that's what it strikes me as, when someone goes to a folk song, it means that they have a pretty deep understanding. You understand?
I think so. I certainly have to be very present when I'm playing. If I get the least bit distracted, things happen like you witnessed tonight. If I,
It's just like meditation.
yes, there's just lots of thoughts that float in and out, and I have to just focus on what I'm doing in order to not make mistakes in playing, which aren't always bad, but I would rather not. I'd rather not goof up the words or feel like I have to go back and fix it, or, I'm an amateur, I haven't even been playing for a whole year yet, almost. On the verge. Oh.
Yeah. So you have some musical theory already, or some background.
Well, I studied music a little bit, to get an elementary teaching credential. You study a little bit of music. And when my husband and I went to Oahu, one time we stayed at a hotel that had a lovely woman named Tutu Janet, who brought all of her ukuleles out and taught us, a few basic chords and things like that for free, for nothing. It was just something that the hotel provided. So that was really fun. And then when Randy retired, what he really wanted was a mandolin, but we went to the music store and they didn't have a mandolin, but they had a uke. And so he bought it. So it's been sitting there on the shelf and he gets it out. He plays all kinds of things every once in a while. And so it just seemed so obvious to me when we got home from our trip last summer. I just went, oh, it's just sitting there. And I did have a guitar when I was a young person, when I was a teenager, but I wasn't disciplined at all. I didn't have lessons. I played it.
So you don't have performance anxiety.
Oh, yes, I do. But this is very, very nice for me. This is nice, a nice, safe place. And it's getting better. You know, I mean, what I've learned is I have to focus. I have to block out everything else and just concentrate and think ahead the words and think ahead the chord changes and, you know, practice a lot so there's muscle memory and it doesn't feel awkward.
Did not feel awkward.
Oh, thank you so much. You're so kind. You're so kind.
So how did you feel? We were really wanting to sing with you.
That was lovely. As soon as I heard you start singing, I hope you noticed that I smiled. I couldn't look at you and say, yes, sing along, because that just would have thrown everything out of the water. But Randy and I have learned a really beautiful song, Neil Young's song, Harvest Moon.
Yeah.
Do you know that song? And he learned the harmonica part so that he can play. There's a little harmonica part at the end. And I'm definitely going to ask them to sing the chorus with me. When I get started, I'm going to invite them. So you know this one, you know the chorus. I'll just, you know, because I'm still in love with you. I'll just play the chorus through one time and say,
Who's
comes
that?
up. At Omega, we have a song circle every night outside of the class, and everybody's invited. Anybody who's on campus that wants to can come, and if they have something to share, they sit in a circle, and when it comes to them, you know, it's their turn. So
So there can be any audience, but you have a specific audience.
anybody who will be there. It's run by Jimmy Dale Gilmore, who is a Texas singer-songwriter. And his wife Janet is the leader of the Texas Dharmata Sangha and invited me to meditate with them when I met her in October of 21 down in Texas at the Big Bend. We were on a river rafting trip. And she said, we're going to meditate in the morning. You want to come and meditate? I said, sure, I'd love to. And I was just hooked right away. It's Tibetan style. They talk a lot, as you pointed out one time, and they chant at the beginning, which I really love. And her husband's also Buddhist. And we couldn't figure out. So, you know, we were going to Texas on this trip, and we thought, a bunch of Texans. There's been a lot of things in the news about Texas, and how's this going to be for us? Not one person on that trip loved us the wrong way. And, you know, then I found out they're all a bunch of Buddhists, no wonder. And river people and conservationists, and, you know, it was just definitely our scene, so.
You started out your talk today, you said something, no, I guess I had the impression that you find yourself a little surprised with all of the ways in which your life is emerging kind of.
Well, you know, I'm 72
And you're still learning.
and
Wow.
I'm still learning, and I'm still practicing my calling, which is teaching. I still have one student, 4 days a week. I go and spend an hour or so with him. And that has been challenging and definitely outside of my comfort zone because he's very much a special needs child. And I had special needs children in my classroom who were mainstreamed, but I'm not a special education teacher. So, you know, there's been a learning curve to that, but his parents are so wonderful. And, well, excuse me for saying this, but they love me. So it's just, and I love them. So it's just, you know, it's working out. And so I have to get up every morning and get out of the house, which I think is very healthy for me to have that kind of a schedule. But this music thing is this delightful new new, I mean, I've dabbled in music here and there throughout my life. I used to sing a lot more, but never as steadily and with as much discipline and, you know, the longevity of it is paying off.
It is, and thank you for sharing with us. Really a gift. Thank you so much for your courage and also your beautiful voice.
Oh,
Yeah.
Thank you.
I can feel your joy in your performance.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad.
Yeah, what a special treat. Oh, anything else for our illustrious Ook?
I would
Her
love
Darwin
to-
is gonna have to be Ookie. I'll have to look up what it means in Japanese, Uke.
Yuki
I was-
is
Yuki,
snow.
yeah.
Yeah, I would.
Snow.
Yuki is snow.
Snow.
But it's
Yuki.
why.
That's why.
Okay.
Oh, right, we'll find out what Uke.
Oh, I would just love to see us be able to do some of this again, sing together or
Well, that'd be really nice.
have
wouldn't it?
more instruments.
Oh,
Have
yes.
your instrument as part of these instruments or, you know, somehow incorporate musical skills in some ways.
Well, I obviously tried to think of songs. I mean, I know a lot of songs, but I tried to think of songs that were relevant to this venue.
Yeah.
And that's what I came up with.
Well, we have other musical, you know, possibilities. Your flute is.
Oh, yes, I would love
And so
that.
forth, and there may be other musicians, I don't know.
Well, you know, my focus here is, but this is such a treat.
Yeah.
And I would love to have maybe once a month, we'll do something that is, you know, this kind of artistic expression. I don't know, we'll see. Maybe in the new year,
Could it be at the potluck maybe?
we could do that too.
Mhm.
That's nice.
Yeah, I was watching, I kept thinking, I wonder if anybody's gonna say anything about. Of course, you know, Randy's very involved in Santa Barbara County and counties north and south, singer-songwriter folks. And so anytime we go to any kind of party, it's always bring your guitar and.
We can sing with you. Well, I really did imagine that we would have maybe a little bit of a signature with you singing, imagine, at the end of, maybe for special events in particular, when the Greater Song is here, when we have guests. I mean, I would love to see us have that, something that is not just you, maybe, but of course, was smitten by that.
Oh.
But other people too, offering something we could all join in, like you suggested.
Yeah.
That's a really
we can all
beautiful
sing, and I
moment
could
of-
bring the words, you know,
Yeah.
written out, and we could all sing that song together.
It would be
I'll keep
wonderful.
practicing that song then.
Please keep it handy for us. yes. Thank you.
You're welcome, thank you for the opportunity.
Okay, announcements.
I have a couple, of course, Dharma is always welcome. Lisa Bob's
Donna,
already on.
Donna.
I mean, did I say Dharma?